So, hello guys, we welcome all in this Achiever series. Today we have a Sayantika Chakravarti with us. So, she has converted SPJMR recently and she is waiting for IIM Kozhikode, IIM Indore results to be out. So, coming to her profile, she has scored 95% in class 10th, 94 in class 12th, and 85% in BTech in chemical engineering from BIT Mesra. She was also the gold medalist there. So she scored 95.8 percentile in CAT. The break breakup of different scores were in VRC she scored 93.75 percentile, DILR she scored 90.82 percentile, and in QS she scored 95.89 percentile. Along with this, she has also cracked IFT with 98.5 percentile. So in this interaction, we are going to figure out what thing worked for Santika in the complete process, first cracking CAT and then converting SPGMR. We are also expecting that she is going to convert almost all her calls. So Santika, I want you to discuss what all things that worked in your favor, because you are working for Cape Gemini along with preparation, and everyone knows that this is the very hectic job. Along with that, you have managed the like good percentile in CAT as well as in IFT, and then how you have cracked SPGMR with in the first list without any waiting. So over to you, Santika. Please share your experience.
Thank you, sir. So I had given CAT in 2020. That was my first attempt. And although I had achieved a 90 percentile, but I had a terribly bad percentile in LRDI, 57 percentile. And because of that, I did not get any calls. So naturally, I was a little heartbroken. And so I thought, let's give it one more shot because, I thought that I had it in me. But I did not leave my job given the fact that I thought like I should be knowing how to balance both the things. That is one life lesson which I always take with me. So I continued with my job. As far as my preparation is concerned, so firstly I joined Prep Zone, the Facebook group, the free Facebook group, and I tried to attempt the questions which used to come up. So, but what I felt was I was lagging a constant push. I used to do sometimes I just lagged off sometimes, and always I had this thing that maybe I have my job, so that used to be an excuse for me for not giving my whole motivation or my whole channelizing my motivation towards it. So I joined Prep Zone, I think, in the month of June last year, and I started taking up the classes, and then I got to know that there are so many people preparing. So I really got to know my competition there. I started giving mocks, I think end of June, beginning July. I started giving mocks because Shubham sir was very vehement on that we should start giving mocks, and it was high time. So naturally it was not a very good mock, but then uh, it was better than my LRTI was better than my CAT 2020. So that was the first start point, and I thought, okay, now we'll just go up. Definitely, I had a lot of ups and downs when it came to my mock score. I mean, I'm not even going there. But something, what I did was I was very consistent. That I have to give it to me now when I look back. I was consistent. I used to do the daily VARC, and VARC was my strength. I felt, I mean, at least in all my mocks, my CAT percentile shows otherwise. But VARC was my strength till the last day. I liked solving RCs. I liked doing VA. And I had a small group. I mean, Divya, Ankita. I mean, we were 2, 3 people who prepared, and uh, we discussed with each other, and we were very consistent with that as well. So I think that all of that added some value, and it showed on the final day, the D day as we call it. Coming to the day on which I had given my CAT, so VARC portion, I was pretty okay with it. I was going with the flow. I did whatever I thought, whatever my strategy was, I did according to it. I did my RCs, I did a few VA. But then I came to the DILR section and I was completely aghast. There were just 4 questions because this time the pattern was again changed. The number of questions were reduced. There were just 4 questions, and one was from the games and tournaments part, which I dreaded. And I don't know what happened. The first question was something related to Dhoni. And I thought it's a games and tournament question. I will just skip it. But it was not. So ultimately, I did that question, and I did one question, just half of it. And I actually lost first 15 minutes of my DILR section because I was very confused as to what to do. But then somehow I mustered up the courage. I attempted only 8 questions, and all the 8 were correct. So I was very happy with that. And then my QA was again that part again with the DILR effect. I needed some 5 minutes of a breather. So I just essentially had 35 minutes with me. So just did something, tried to make the most of it. And I came out, I was not very happy, but then I was like, oh, I did something. And then when the results were out, I talked to Prashant sir, obviously. Sir, this is the score, this is the result. And obviously he was more hopeful than me. I was not hoping anything again. But then, yeah, I got a profile-based call from SP Jain. And so, yeah, I was focusing on filling the form. So should I go with the form
Yeah,
SP
no, no,
process?
I'll summarize what you have talked so far. So first thing that you told me, you told us that consistency was the thing for you, as you told that every day you used to solve RC. So we see a lot of participants or aspirants of CAT. They always think that QA is something we should. I know people who solve almost 100 questions of QA daily, but they hardly solve anything about RC. They solve RC once they get bad scores in mocks, then they focus on few days, like 2 3 days on RC, then they leave again. So this story goes on, like till the day they write CAT. So it's for everyone. Don't skip RC, like doing VRC section, especially RC, because RC is in the name of the section itself. So at least two RCs on daily basis. Don't think like Santika told that she used to think that VRC is her strength, but the result shows opposite of that. So don't think that VRC, DILR or QA is my strength, so I'm going to score more in this. It doesn't like like always true. Maybe few people will score like highest percentile in their favorite section or their in their strength section, but vice versa can also be true, because in that section you become more conscious or you start putting more time, and while taking those answers you think that am I putting, so accuracy automatically goes up because you think that I'm not going to attempt more questions in this. And last, you as you told that in DLR section you have read the name of Dhoni, so you thought that this will be the two games and tournament questions, and you just thought this is not my cup of tea. Still, you are able to solve this. So it's for everyone. Don't go by the like face value of any question. Suppose you have not practiced log or you are not very comfortable with log, and then you get some question on log, maybe that will be very like level 0 question. So always go through or skim through that question. Maybe you will be able to solve in the end. So same thing happened with Santika also. Santika was able to solve the question, and if like time was not there, she would have left that question and not able to like solve that caselet. So don't go by the face value of any question and read. Just go through, at least skim through all the questions whichever in there in your paper. So Santika, now you can talk about like from your journey after your CAT. So
Yeah. So after CAT, then obviously the GDPI thing. So one thing which I was sure that I can now, if I get a chance to present myself, I'll give my 100% to it and I'll present the best self. But what I needed was a right guidance on how to accumulate all that I know and all that I have done so far. Because that was not structured. I had done a lot of things, but that was not channelized in the proper way. So that is where obviously Prashant sir and the entire GDPI team of Prep Zone came into play, and I uh, took like the initial assignment was to jot down everything that we have done so far in our life. So I started doing that, and I did all the initial assignments which were given, and then I felt like, yeah, these are the things I know. And I was pretty confident with my own HRs, and especially the HR questions. I think that is a very big thing to do, because you need to think a lot on the questions, your strengths, your weaknesses, and strengths which align to the vision and mission of that particular college. I think that is also very important. The alignment of your answers with the college for which you're appearing. So accordingly, I had done all those answers, and I had taken mock interviews. I had taken a mock GI, first mock GI, and it went terribly bad. I spoke too much. One one feedback which I got was I spoke too much. So yeah, I think I tried to work on that in all my interviews, and I don't know how, but all my interviews were pretty short. I did not have very long interviews. I had short interviews, so I had to be precise. So that inherently happened. So for the SP process, I'm more credible to say about that right now. I feel so for the SP process. I think the form was very important. There's a form A and there's a form B. So I tried to be as honest as possible. Everything that happened in my life, I just put it in words, got it reviewed by my mentors, and I think the form was a pretty good thing for me. The second thing was the GI. There's one GI1, there's GI2. GI1 was on the technical side, and they also asked questions based on how my work experience and the current happenings in the world are interrelated. So there were questions on that. There was questions on IT sector. There was questions on my academics per se, not academics per se, but academics in the sense that how it has helped me uh, add value to my company, and how that is going to help me add value to the college that I go in. So I think those kind of questions, and it was covered by the current affairs and the HR questions. So that was GI1. Post GI1, we had our GI2. A few students are selected for GI2 again, and GI2 was completely a behavioral interview. I felt it was it was basically a judgment of how you are as a person, and whatever you have written in the form is it completely in coherence with what you're actually saying. So that was GI2 all about. It asked about my opinions on a certain thing. It asked about my strengths and how my strengths are going to be helpful, my weaknesses, and what am I doing for my weaknesses. Uh, there was some interesting puzzle, not puzzle exactly, a riddle. Like if you are in an island, in a deserted island, what would you do? So something. And what I felt in my interview was, with the other people, I tried to bring about something different in my answer, even if it was like a spot on thinking. Like, just to give an example for this island question, my peers were saying that I'll try to get off the island. I'll try to find ways to get off the island. And the specifications given to us was, you have 2 books and you have 1 day's food. So what I tried to answer in that was, since I have 1 day's food and it's an island, there's bound to be some trees. So I would like to stay in the island, enjoy the island, have some fruits, increase my food stock, because inherently I'm a person who loves traveling. So, and I had written that in my form. So that
Yeah.
kind of, gelled together. And I think that really worked. I feel right now that worked. And it was a very candid interview. It was not an interview. It was a 1 hour 45 minute. The GI2 was 1 hour 45 minutes, but I don't know how just time passed off. I mean, it was so candid. We were just talking.
So
It was
Santika,
really
if
good.
I Santika, if I remember correctly, you have given your interview in the January itself, right?
Yes, yes. On 20th of January, like there was a time slot from 17th to 21st. That was the first slot of early interviews. So I had
So
given it.
So this is for people who are going to say this video later, like in 2000, like in December of 2022. So people come to us and ask that when to give the SPGMR interview if I have a profile based call. So they always fear that if I give interviews in January, so this is going to reduce my chances. So Sayantika is one of the examples. So this is not going to happen. So because if you have prepared well and if you know yourself better, then you are able to, then you will be able to convert SPHMR. It doesn't matter when you are going to appear for an interview, either in January or February, because people always think that if I'm going to appear in February, I'll get some extra time and I'll prepare more. But here, I don't think any issue Santika faced because she was confident. That's why she has selected January as a date.
And so to add on to your point, I think not just SPJIMR, the early interviews kind of fastens your process, learning process, and you're prepared for other interviews as well. Because I think the COICOR calls were out on 21st of January, and I had my interview in the first week of February. So it kind of, I was already prepared with 80%. All I had to do was maybe brush up the college website and all of that stuff. So it adds to that. And also, I mean, what was a constant motivation for me was I do not have a very high percentile, so my interview has to be the best interview, so that was always on my mind. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think these two, just to add on to your
So
point.
maybe people watching this video later, like next year aspirant watching this, so they should also note this, that percentile is one thing, but after you get the call, interview is something that is your whole selection process is going to dependent on. And so don't think that you have a very like 99.99 percentile, it is going to ensure you seat. No, that is not going to do so. If you have to secure a seat in any B school, you need to crack those interviews and you need to start early, because I think Santika has started just after CAT. So this is something from her side.
Yes, sir.
So Santika, anything, any suggestions for like aspirants coming?
So I think, yeah, I think it's very important to be consistent. It's very difficult to be consistent. I know I'm a very lazy person, to be very honest. I'm a lazy person. I do not like to work too hard for something, but I knew that I had it in me and I had to do it this year. So that was, I had set some timelines for myself. And with a job, I think with job, it was easier for me to be consistent. I had a schedule. I mean, I used to
Yeah.
write down what all to do. I have a whiteboard and I still do that. I mean, that is my habit. So I used to do that. This will be my office time. I used to find out time like half an hour from here, half an hour from there, little bit of this, a little bit of that in the initial days at least. So I had that routine and I used to follow it to the maximum level I could. And I mean, I did not know that at that time I was being consistent, but now when I look back, I see, yeah, there was consistency. I used to do it every day. And I liked VARC. I liked solving VARC, to everyone's surprise. I mean,
Yeah.
people were like struggling with VARC, and I was like, I like it. I liked reading actually. So
Okay.
I was okay with it. So I think consistency, one thing. And second thing is to not lose heart. I mean, to lose heart, but to assimilate that failure or that setback and come back. I mean, you cry it out, you take one day, but then come back next day. So these two things.
Yeah. Thanks, Antika, for your words. Thanks for your time. And it will be like whenever people watch this video, they will be inspired at least for this, right, about CAT as well as how to crack those like TIs. So thanks, Antika. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.